and we're going to get started. So welcome to today's webinar, Social Media Made Easy, 9 Strategies for Generating Awesome Content. Your hosts for today, Andrea and Heidi, are going to be sharing a lot of things with you. Heidi just kind of shared in the pre-discussion. We hope that you can take 1 or 2 of these ideas and implement them in your school year to make it easier. Just a quick introduction before we get into everything. Communication at your school is a big job. There's a lot of ways that you're communicating information. When we talk about social media, we are talking about celebrating your school 1 story at a time, 1 video at a time, you know, 1 event and all the celebratory photos. And what do we say, Heidi, about social media?
Well, here's what I say lately. Listen, if you're wondering, should I put this on social media? Ask yourself, does what I'm going to put on social media, does this Facebook post blow glitter 4 feet in front of me? If it does, put it on social media. If it's letting families know that maybe there's a lice breakout, I'm going to go with no.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Social media is not the answer for everything. So a lot of you know who I am and who we are, Social School for EDU, but my name's Andrea Gribble. I got my start with social media and schools 5.5 years ago. I knew nothing about school PR or social media for schools when I got started. And so if you are new, I feel your pain, but you're in the right place because you're going to learn a lot today. I am a mom of 6, and so I love the fact that social media allows me to take a peek into the classroom and see what my kids are doing because they don't tell me. Our company now partners with more than 80 school districts across the country for full management. We've shared close to 1 million posts right now, so we've got a lot of experience, but we absolutely love what we do. And my co-host today is Miss Heidi Feller.
And I am the Chief Inspirational Officer for Social School for EDU. Andrea grabbed me about 2 years ago. Has it already been 2 years? It feels like 5 seconds. But 2 years ago, out of the role that I was serving in a school district where I live as a school PR and communications person, I am a former educator. So long ago in a distant galaxy, far, far away, I was a German teacher. I come from a long line of teachers. I have a sister who's a public school teacher in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's headed back to the classroom as a first grade teacher this year. And so the passion that I have in terms of wanting to celebrate students and staff and connect schools to their community using social media, really I believe is second to none because people need to know what you folks do each and every day. And I don't just mean public schools. I know private schools do a wonderful job also and want to use social media to shout their story from the rooftops. So.
And I didn't put a separate slide in today for Twitter. So hopefully you guys are on Twitter. I'm at Andrea Gribble and Heidi's at Heidi_Feller. If you get a great takeaway, make sure to tweet that out. It's a great way to take notes. If you're on your lunch break right now and you're enjoying this, snap a photo, get it out there, and maybe share something you've learned. Twitter is a great place to build your professional learning network, and we love it. Our mission is really simple at Social School for EDU. We want to celebrate students and staff, and we want to connect communities, giving them a front row seat to all the amazing things happening at your school district. And we've been serving schools ever since 2014. Now, many of you are on this webinar live. Some of you are going to watch this in a recorded version. Guess what, you guys? We don't always send out the recording. But this webinar, we actually are going to send out the recording. So our gift to you, because we're going to try to share this with more people. But we do a free webinar every single month throughout the school year, and our lineup is looking fantastic. So even if you're watching the recording, we've recorded these webinars. They're in our membership program. We'll talk more about that later. But in September, our #1 issue is content, which we're talking about today. Our #2 issue is finding the time. And so we're actually, Steph Sins and I, Steph is on our team. She's our Chief People Officer, does all the training. We're going to talk about finding the time, how to manage social media in less than an hour a day and try to fit that in among everything else you're doing. In October, we have a couple ladies that are helping us doing Thirsty, Here's a Fire Hose. They have all these tools and tricks and like strategies to use to make your job easier. And that's going to be an awesome, like, to try out all these different apps. In November, Jim Cummings, APR, is going to be talking about a picture is worth more than 1,000 words and speaks in multiple languages, about taking great photos. December, Matthew Miller from Lakota Schools, he's going to be talking about amplifying student and teacher voice. Matthew is a superintendent, so that's going to be a really good, great one. And then in January, we have an organization, I Love Public Schools. They've got a lot of free resources for schools to use across the country to talk about issues that are happening and some great information out there. So you can always get the lineup on my website. It's under services and then our free webinars. And the login or the registration for all of these webinars will be coming up very shortly. So in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to register for those. Social School for EDU, we serve schools with free content like today, but we also have a very affordable membership program, which is an online support with group training and support. We have coaching where we coach you with all of our strategies, help hold you accountable and provide measurement. And then we do full management, daily upkeep of social media. And so we have a team of more than 30, mainly stay-at-home moms, because there's a lot going on at your school, and our team is really just focused on telling that story. And we have a huge team. This is just part of it. But we really, really do absolutely love what we get to do for schools. So to start out with, Heidi, will you kick us off here?
Yes, as a former German teacher, nothing gave me greater pleasure than to give my students a small assignment. And so I'm giving you all an assignment, and Andrea and I would like you to chat in your answer in the chat bar, because you are muted, because Andrea and I have a lot more words to use today. So my first question to you is, what is your biggest struggle in getting content to post on your social media channels? What makes you pull your purple hair out? Start chatting in. Tell us. Is it that they text them to you? Is it that everyone thinks someone else is doing it? Is it that they expect you? What did Kelly say? Oh yeah, we've got some good ones.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, yeah, they tell you about the event after it already happened, or 5 minutes before, and you're across town, right? We're both from small districts, Heidi and I, but so getting enough content from each school in our district versus just a few. So Kelly, we love Kelly from Tahoe Truckee. So that balance, getting all my schools to share their news. Some schools do a great job, others not so much. When they tell me about something after it happened and didn't take any photos. Yes, Erin, what a frustration. Like, everybody has one of these in their pocket. You can't tell me they don't, right? Second graders have them in there. Take the picture.
Inconsistency. Oh, we've got a solution for that one, Samantha. No worries there. Nobody says anything.
Yes.
Yes. I've lived all this pain internally. I've lived what you guys are living. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, oh my gosh, we have so many. This is so good. And we're going to send out the chat. You know what's really good is that we can all feel each other's pain, right? We're not the only one. Like, we talk to schools all the time and we're like, this is not like special to just your school. It's really common to everything. Yeah, and I really agree with this one. Teachers think the great things they're doing in the classroom are just normal. They don't realize how worthy they are to share. So we're going to, and they don't think they take good pictures, but guess what? Chris Vanderheiden, sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes they don't take good pictures.
Chris's people do take really great photos. Sorry.
Yes.
They really do. Yeah. So there's a lot of struggles, right? It's really, really, it can be very frustrating because, of course, we've already consumed the purple Kool-Aid. So we know the power of an awesome photo. We know it's always in the back of our mind of, where's my phone? I need to be taking a photo of this. Hey, wait, let's go Facebook Live. Have we thought about adding this to Instagram stories? This is the way we think, right? It's like Andrea and I lay awake at night, sometimes in the same hotel room when we're on the road, going, hey, we should do this, right? But everybody else doesn't necessarily know that. And so some of these strategies really help enlist your army and get folks on your team, right? So Andrea, what is the first strategy?
The first strategy, and just as a reminder, we have an awesome free download. I'm going to send this out in your follow-up information, and if you're watching the recording, you already got this, so if you want to print this out, it's just kind of got this breakdown of all 9 strategies. But the first one is pretty simple. It takes a village. You cannot do social media for your school district or for your school building, even if you're just doing one building all by yourself. You have to get everybody involved. So and remember, and this is really good information to know. At Social School for EDU, our team manages social media for more than 80 schools across the country. We're managing from Wisconsin or Minnesota or wherever our account managers are, we're managing social media for a school in Kansas, for a school in Oklahoma, for a school in Pennsylvania. We're not physically there, so we cannot take the picture. There is some magic in that because we have to rely on staff members participating. So I know this might seem impossible, but I'm telling you, you can make it work. And we just say, hey, every staff member, they submit one thing a month. It has to be a team effort. One person cannot be in every building, taking every picture, writing every write-up, knowing what's going on. It's just impossible. Mental health was a big focus at the NSPRA conference of making sure that, we are addressing everything. I just saw somebody raise their hand. If you want to just type in your chat or in your questions or anything in the chat bar, that would be awesome. But you have to get everybody on board because you'll go crazy trying to cover it all. So our biggest tip for you is, and it's the beginning of the school year, so it's not too late to try to set this process up now. Setting up an email address, one email address that people, all members, your elementary, your middle school, your high school teachers, your sports teams, potentially, your organization, school board, they can send things in. It comes to you. In this case, it comes to us, but it could be you. And then you take those pictures and that brief explanation, you make the post, you upload the video, and you monitor the conversation. But setting up this email address, which normally for us is a Gmail address, it's separate than your normal address. Why? Because you get 250 emails every day. And when it's time to look for what needs to go on social media, you don't have time to sort through everything. So you have it in one email inbox that you can keep organized and be able to stay consistent with being able to schedule those out on social media. You also deserve to take vacation. So if you're on vacation, you know that an email out to say, I'm on vacation, so can everybody send their social media stuff to Heidi instead of me? Nobody's going to remember that, right? And so there's going to be a bunch of stuff when you get back from, wherever you go on vacation. Right now, hopefully not Mexico, because there's some issues there. But anyways, you need to have a system where it's one email address. And then if you ever leave, you have the same system that everybody uses. Am I missing anything, Heidi?
I would and the other part is the expectation that everybody send in one thing. Every one of your employees is a storyteller for your district, and they each have a slightly different version of your district story to tell. So what your bus driver might send in will be slightly different than what your third grade teacher sends in, and they're all points of pride and ways to celebrate students and connect your schools to your community. But it is an expectation, and you need to make sure that folks know this is how we're doing it, right? And this is a sample slide that Andrea, that we use then in a district when we kick off with them in terms of full-on social media when we manage for a school district, right? We really make it very clear. We make the ask easy. We make it approachable. We don't get bogged down in weird details. Just keep it simple and to the point.
Yeah, definitely. And setting up that expectation from the leadership team is really important. So all you superintendents and principals that are on this, please, if you can help support the social media efforts, that's really going to help. Is everybody going to submit? No, they're not, right? Some people think social media is the devil, but if you can get 70%, 60%, even start out with 40% of your staff submitting one thing a month or two things a month in smaller districts, you're going to have a great story. So school year kickoff, you better be spending, I say, at least 15 minutes talking about social media and the importance of telling your story. Remind them of the email address. Make sure they know that how they interact with the social media pages matters. We do staff features, which do really well on social media. So we're asking them to email in their personal bio and photos, and then making sure that we tweet, tag the district, and use Crystal like this. Hey, we grabbed the Menasha Pride one. So, hey, let's use that hashtag Menasha Pride. This is just an example. So this was an email that we got, just a couple pictures, a little description, and then from there, we can make this awesome social media post. So this was a Facebook post. We threw in a little hand wave and a heart that was the color of the school district and put in that hashtag, and that was awesome. This is just another example, Heidi.
Yes. So, I mean, this is a teacher in our district, and it took a lot of encouraging on my part to get her to do this. And now she's a huge proponent of it. So you have to kind of fluff them along, if you will. But she sent that in, and then here's what we came up with, right? You get a catchy little beginning to your post, those types of things. And because people are scrolling, and they're scrolling quickly, so the photo better be great. And Mrs. Hyde did a wonderful job. The other thing I want to point out on this one, in addition to the fact that it reached 2,200 people, is that this school actually sort of houses most of that district's elementary bilingual program. So we have a bilingual receptionist within this district. When posts go out that come from this particular school, after I'm done, because I happen to be the account manager for this, writing that little blurb, I send it over to that receptionist, to the administrative assistant. She translates it into Spanish. It's a great way to reach those family members. We do not recommend auto translate. As a former foreign language teacher, it makes my eyeballs bleed, so please don't do that. But anyway, you can see where it works, and we've got a lot of great ideas. If you're wondering, like, how should I start a post? When we were at Ensborough, Kendra Hall gave a really great keynote. She's a professional storyteller, and here's a sentence that stuck with me. She said, every day you have the choice between just imparting the information given to you or telling a story. Tell a story. People engage with a story. And this blog, actually, that we'll have hyperlinked in here, are great ways to start a post. Just so you know, we have a ton of great blogs. This one happens to be on how to start a post.
Yes, awesome. So number 2, Heidi.
Number 2, yeah, it's 1:30 and we're on number 2. Great. We should wrap up by dark. I'm sure it'll work out. Number 2, student contributors, right? You need to use your students and celebrate their actual accomplishments, right? So let's take a look at some really great examples of that. This first example is an awesome Instagram post, and they actually used part of this gentleman's salutatory in speech during graduation as the Instagram post. Outstanding photo, because Instagram is all about the photo, and then a couple of emojis and things like that. What a great way to celebrate that. Senior features. This is a great way to let your community know where your seniors are going, what their goals and dreams and aspirations are. In this case, they're just short videos that seniors recorded, maybe 30 seconds. People don't spend a long time watching a video on Facebook, right? And then uploading those directly onto Facebook, posting them out, scheduling them out for a really hot time, like maybe 7 p.m. And the love that comes below these types of posts, wishing these seniors well, huge, humongous. Maybe you don't have time for something like that. Maybe that feels like drinking from a fire hose. It feels like a lot of pressure. Like when you see your friend start this whole new workout routine on Facebook and you're like, I can't do that. You're freaking out. Here's an even easier one. We know that all of your seniors have to submit a photo for the yearbook. Maybe you're in contact with the yearbook advisor. If you aren't, I would suggest messaging him or her now. Maybe you are the yearbook advisor. What an easy way to take the photo that's already being submitted and putting it out on social media. Make a cute little feature like this. Use Canva, use WordSwag, use another one of those great graphics apps, and just post these out You'll notice that in this case, these are square. I'm sure they were on Facebook, but my guess is these buggers were on Instagram as well. That's where students are. Show your seniors some love, right? We also know that students are using technology to complete assignments. You know, gone are the days with a pencil and an eraser and that paper with a line through it. I also come from a long line of teachers, so I loved playing school. And now you get really interesting assignments like this one. Miss Eigner and her biology students had to do some sort of like production that had to do with a thing they were studying in modern bio. And these young women actually did a rap about everything they learned about breast cancer and the gene that causes breast cancer and that kind of a thing. And Miss Eigner knew to send that to the social media email address, and it was posted out. Here's a side note on this one. High school students say they're not on Facebook, but when you put a little video of themselves on, they pop right on and they like it. Then they disappear again, right? And the last one that we'll show, which I absolutely adore, so many of our teachers use technology day in and day out and in such interesting and innovative ways. This is a second grade teacher who has a green screen in her room. And one of the stations in her classroom for free time on Fridays is hanging out in front of the green screen. These second graders found that background of that national news channel and then did an entire video where they discussed their favorite vacation spots. I highly recommend that you go and like the School District of Greensburg right now, because it's my page, but also because you need to search this video and watch it because it's precious. It's unbelievable. But again, it's not just that this happened in that classroom. It's that this teacher, along with all the other teachers in this district and so many other districts, knew, whoa, that's cool. Where do I send that? Oh, yes, the social media email address.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
When you can incorporate some of what you're going to share on social media to an assignment, like how easy is that in order to be able to get your 1 or 2 things a month? So just getting teachers to think a little bit differently. I think, you know, although I like to think that I'm still young, I'm 41 now, but, you know, we've got a lot of young teachers that are coming up and that would love to be able to use this. So make sure that they understand that that is totally possible. We also had some, in Little New Auburn, we had Twitter takeovers where students that were each a class president, 7 through 12, got to be a Twitter contributor. And so they would put stories out there, and then you can see at the end she put MB for Morgan Berg for her name. But what I loved is that most of them, when they were helping share stories, they were highlighting the staff members and talking about how much, you know, how hard she works and that she rocks. And isn't that awesome? So leveraging that student voice is huge. In 2019, 2020, like it's all about everybody finding their voice. Our students are the product of, you know, what we're here to do, right? Give them voice and let them, you know, have a say. All right, number 3, crowdsourcing. So this again has to do with beyond your staff. How can we get content? And here are some different strategies. So the power of a hashtag. We would love right now in the chat bar, shout out your district hashtag over to over in the chat. I want to see your hashtag. If you don't have a hashtag, FCS Lions, love it. We are St. Raphael. That's awesome. Spartan Proud, Reedsburg Pride. Oh, you're good, Heidi, that you can, or did you put that in? We are TIP, Build, Team GBSD, awesome. So you want to have something unique and you want to have something easy to remember. Some schools will like switch up their hashtag each year because they have a different theme. I really don't recommend that. I think that it's really powerful to have a hashtag and stick with it. It allows everybody to be a part of your story, and it allows you to tell that story. We work actually with Fall Creek in Little Wisconsin, but hashtag Go Crickets, you check that anytime. You're going to see a ton of activity, and it's not just coming from the school. It comes, and I love PM. She just did a brainstorming with students, and it's down to 3 options. So that if you don't have a hashtag, get your students involved, and then take a look. I was just doing a webinar the other day, Heidi, and somebody had a really awesome one. So I got to relook at that because I love me a good hashtag. You can follow hashtags on Instagram. So that's a powerful thing, right? If people are sharing things out, you can actually follow it just like you do a person. And then on Twitter, it's awesome. Hashtags work on Facebook, but because of privacy settings, it's not quite as effective. But we try to use our hashtag in every single post that we do on whatever channel we're doing, because it's a branding thing. It's enforcing that this is our hashtag, this is us, right? And what I love, like in Fall Creek, is you've got Kayla, who might be a teacher, and she is being able to tweet things out. You've got Dave Strasberg and Charles Fitch and all these people that have the hashtag so that we can then retweet it and people can follow the story. Another method of getting, kind of that crowdsourcing technique is who in your school district has a separate page. Now, we are strong proponents of one strong district Facebook page, but if the classroom has a Facebook page, you can follow it on behalf of your school district page. So it basically shows up in a separate news feed. So on your desktop, you'll see that See Pages feed, and then you can like other pages as your school district. And so if you're ever looking for content, or that, oh my gosh, there was this big event, there was this big concert, and I bet that, the band page posted some pictures on it, I want to get those over to our district page. You can follow those pages here, and it makes it very easy. It makes it easy to share, but I'm going to remind you, shared posts on your page don't reach as many people. Organic posts on your page are going to reach more people. And so we will right click on the pictures, we'll save those pictures, and we'll repost it as a new post. But you can give a shout out to the original page that you got it from, okay? So you can kind of direct them back there if you want, but please make sure you just don't, you can once in a while hit the share button, don't make it an all the time thing. And then promote the heck out of your social channels, because the more people know, the more they're going to actually use the hashtag and follow you on your social channels. So this is something we do for every district we partner with. I will send you this blog that's on this, but for less than $20 from a local sign company, you can get these made and put them on every main entrance to your school buildings, so that whenever anybody comes in your door, they're like, hey, these people are on social media. Now, when they check your Facebook page, the last post better not be from, May 15th, when it was the last day of school last year. Okay, make sure that you're using it. But that's really powerful. Any last things on crowdsourcing, Heidi?
Oh, you covered it. Excellent.
Okay. Awesome. Number 4.
Ooh, winner, winner, chicken dinner. You have to sometimes create contests, right? We all know that teachers will crawl across broken glass for a cupcake, right? We know that, and so utilize it. Maybe content is a little bit slow and you need to infuse some energy there, and maybe you just want to reward or recognize some staff members. So simple. We have this, and this will be hyperlinked as well. It's a social media bingo challenge. Really great ideas, super cute ideas, like take a selfie with your students, or highlight a STEM challenge, or something along those lines. Feel free to grab those and use them in your district, and then give prizes for completed bingo, a completed bingo. Maybe that prize is a $25 gas card. Maybe that prize is swag. Maybe it's the cupcake I mentioned, right? That kind of, the bingo idea, trust me, is really, really awesome. It's great. Go ahead, Andrea. Yeah.
Well, and it could be just wearing jeans on Friday or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to, or a parking space. It doesn't always have to cost money, but sometimes you can get like local businesses to contribute to some of those prizes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe it's an award like they do here in Collier County Public Schools, and that is they give a social media award. Maybe it's a little hashtag. This one is the @, and you recognize a different staff member, doesn't need to be a teacher, a different staff member every month who consistently tells your district story by sending things to you as the communications person. Maybe they have their own professional Twitter account. Maybe they're always wearing some swag as well, those types of things. And that's a traveling award, right? Those are bragging rights, dude. Those are absolute bragging rights. And sometimes you want to give out a prize or recognize or involve your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram fans. So does anybody remember a little thing called the polar vortex from January? I know I sure do, right? Yeah, I might still be hanging on to all that bread that I baked then. Anyway, so we did some really cool things with some of our districts during that time. This one actually is from Andrea's home district, New Auburn. They did a fort challenge. So again, you're enlisting the help and the interaction of your actual Facebook fans. So you can see what the rules were there, and then you go on the back end of your Facebook page and you allow visitor posts for a short amount of time. What that means is that folks can then upload these cute little photos that you see here. Under normal circumstances, we don't allow that on the Facebook pages. We just don't recommend it. People can still comment, obviously. You can see there were 36 comments. There are only 300 kids in that entire district, and 13 shares. And then, Andrea, was this one just bragging rights, or did you actually, oh yeah, they got the winner, they got lunch.
Yeah, we ended up actually, and I love it because Miss Mason is our principal and she's super active. She comments on almost every Facebook post we put out there, which I think is awesome. But she had actually posted with her son that like Ira wins lunch with me. What we actually ended up doing is we just gave lunch to everybody who participated. So that was really nice. It's a small school, K through 12, all in one building. But yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, so enlist the help of your fans, right? Ask them where they're reading this number, that kind of thing. Andrea, this one is.
Yeah, and just a little bit more on the contest. I know that another one that our friend Joelle from Mineral Point did is like, where in the world is like your swag over the summer? And it could be anytime during the year, and then they submit pictures probably via email and then share those out. So that's kind of a fun way to, again, encourage, and maybe it's not necessarily a contest with a prize, but sometimes just getting to see your posts on social media is a big thing. Number 5, keep it simple, sweetie, because we're sweet people, so we're gonna keep it nice. Is all about repurposing great content. So I just had a friend that posted on Facebook, and she's like, "Why would I follow you on Instagram and Facebook if you post the same exact thing?" Which is a legitimate question, but when you understand the algorithm and the chances of somebody actually seeing your post, there's a big reason why you would post the same thing, because it's very hard for your post to actually reach people's news feed, right? You have a post and you might have 2,000 fans, and most of your posts are probably reaching 500-600 people. That's it. The amount of interaction that your posts get impact that, but don't be afraid to take like great pictures from Facebook and put them over on Instagram. Or maybe sometimes you say, hey, we've got more bonus pictures from this event over on Twitter, right? And so, but don't be afraid to repurpose that great content and be like, oh my gosh, I already posted on Facebook, I can't put it anywhere else. Because guess what? A lot of people have a favorite social media channel, right? That they pay attention to. So that's key. And then reusing great photos. So Heidi, can you talk about this one?
Sure. I'm actually just going to say one more thing about the other one, and that is you may have certain teachers who only use one particular platform. We have a 4th grade teacher who does awesome work. Shout out to Amy Bass. And Amy does everything on Twitter. I will frequently steal a photo from her. If you're on Twitter and you're on your phone, you just hold your finger down. It says I save the best photo, and then I will use it. Maybe if it's a really outstanding photo and I know it's going to play well in Square, I'm going to put it on Instagram, maybe I'll put it on Facebook, those types of things. So that's one thing to be said. And then to your next point there, Andrea, is this is a photo that was used in just, in a regular Facebook post, but then clearly because it was such an awesome photo, it begged to be used as a Motivational Monday post, right? Maybe it was on the website. Maybe 4 of those photos from a particular post that a teacher sent in on Facebook. The best one was used on Instagram. So repurpose that content. Alexis has a question. What is the question, Alexis? I'll open the chat.
Yeah, the question Alexis has is, for sharing teachers' photos from Twitter, for example, what do you do about parent permission? they may have given permission for that one platform or account only.
Oh, let me answer that question as someone who used to work in a district. First of all, this is we're like drilled all the way down. I would not give on one platform. Its permission is social media, the end. That's it. Number one. Number two, make sure your staff understands. Do not post photos of anyone who may not be pictured. Beginning of the school year, time to remind folks of that. It will be a new list, if you will. And then lastly is that you will very soon, when you realize those 6 teachers who are always out there on Twitter, you're going to ask them at the beginning of this year, it's September, the first time that you see a really great tweet, hey, double checking, Miss Bass, everybody okay to photograph? And now you know, so you know you can steal for the rest of the year, if you will. But I would never break them down based on platform. It's social media, done, right? That's it.
And we have an article on like last names and the opt-in, opt-out process, but it gets very hard to manage if you're going to say, well, you can use it on the website and you can use it in the yearbook, but you can't. And many schools, just so you know, a little hack as far as we want to protect school students, right? We do. But sometimes, parents will just like not even know what they're signing. And then all of a sudden you can't be even included in the yearbook. So sometimes when you include all those things, the website, the newspaper, the yearbook, social media, and it's either opt-in or opt-out, knowing that we celebrate them in a great way, right? Then you're going to get less people to opt out. But you have to make sure you have something in place to know who those kids are that can't be pictured.
Yeah, and those are the types of conversations that happen in our membership group often, and so people kind of throw ideas back and forth to each other. But I recommend it. Again, back to Andrea, when I was embedded in the district and we ended up redoing everything because it was rebranding, new website, et cetera, we also did a new opt-in, opt-out. And that first year where we really clarified language in that form during registration, as Andrea said or mentioned, it freaked parents out. We had a larger list than normal. We had about 2,800 students in Reedsburg, a larger list than normal. But when we followed up with parents later on, they were like, oh, we didn't know what we were signing. They don't. They sign a lot of things in that day. It's hard. It's tough. Some can be tough language. But, in those instances where it absolutely needs to be, then we want to protect that student's privacy, right? For sure. So repurpose your content. Do it. Save it. Save those awesome photos, right?
And we do have a list of that Heidi helped compile of 20 like must-have photos for your district, and it talks about like having a district photographer, or maybe you're a really good photographer. But I'm going to send that list out to you guys as well. I think that's a really good one to think and look at for the beginning of the school year. If you don't have, a great picture of showing technology, or making sure that you have a lot of photos that showcase the diversity in your school district, all of that, we'll send that out.
Yeah, but on that note, I'm going to go back to the school photographer thing again, just because I saw those comments come in before at the beginning about biggest struggles, where a teacher lets me know something's going on 5 seconds before it's going on. So first of all, it's the teachers, they're telling the story. So they need to get their phone out and be taking a few photos and sending it to you at the social media email address. Secondly, if it is a special event, then I can't remember who it was. We were just talking to somebody at Ensper who said they had sort of a submission process there. It was like, I have a very special event. We're not talking about STEM challenge on a Tuesday afternoon. And then you can schedule your time out so that you can be there for those special ones. But the day in and day out, it's everybody's responsibility to be using their phone, or in lesser cases, their iPad, and taking photos.
Definitely. All
Number
right.
6, Instagram and Facebook stories. I'm jazzed about this one for a variety of reasons, one of which is that I'm having lunch with a lovely young lady who's a senior tomorrow and wants to go into broadcast journalism. # she's going to be my Instagram stories woman for the whole year. I love, love, love. So here is why I'm going to be using her for Instagram stories for the district's account, right? 1 billion accounts. We're using Instagram stories daily. If you're on Instagram, there are so many people, young and old, who are deferring completely to their stories and never scrolling down. So enlist the help of somebody who understands, right? It doesn't need to be you. Young people, consider student takeovers, student council, choraleers, things like that. Consider staff contributors, especially young staff who intuitively know how to use things like Instagram stories. You can see the tons of events that you can promote using Instagram stories, and also think behind the scenes. Maybe it's an upcoming school musical and you're going to count down the entire week of all of those things that are going on. But Instagram stories, unless you save them to the highlights, only live for 24 hours and are chronological, unlike your Instagram feed where you could see a photo from a friend 3 days later, right? And you're like, oh, wait, I didn't know that was going on. But there are just some awesome ideas out there. We have a blog on this. We have a PDF on this. Here's a great example. It was a teacher that we knew was already using Instagram for her classroom. So we approached her. Why did we approach her? Because I'm bossy. No, just kidding. Because well, it's true. The number one reason that people do things is because you ask them. I used to be the volunteer coordinator, so I know that this is true. This teacher was already using Instagram for her classroom. And I said, would you like to do an Instagram Stories takeover? And she was like, well, I don't know, I guess. We gave her some tools. I gave her feedback in the form of texts every day, like, I loved this one. That was awesome. Do more of this, that kind of a thing. And she realized she wasn't going to break social media. And she had a very special view on South School and the fact that it was closing. So go where you're welcome. Ask these folks. This is another great one. If you are looking for awesome ideas for student contributors, go to Superior, Nebraska. Start following their Instagram immediately. These two young women, it's a very small district, these two young women took over Instagram stories. Their English teacher was so nervous when we did the training through Zoom with them, but she has become one of our biggest fans, never mind, and way more importantly, the biggest fans of these two young women. One of them has graduated and is going on. I know she wanted to go into communications, or it was graphic design, I can't remember, but enlist the help of your students. Trust your kids. I'm a former high school teacher. Trust them. They want to tell the story. Give them regular feedback. Help them out, right?
We have a helpful blog that talks about Instagram stories that features some of this, and we have just a feature on Superior schools in Nebraska. So we'll make sure to send that with your follow-up information as well. And then, there is the opportunity now to use Facebook stories. So a lot of people are like, how should we use Facebook stories? It can be similar to what you're using on Instagram. But it pops up at the top of your news feed. You can't go through, we manage a lot of our social media through the Facebook page manager app on our phone. You actually have to go in your regular Facebook page, go onto your school district page, scroll down to your story, and then you could especially do like announcements. Again, they only live 24 hours. Your normal announcements of an upcoming event do not reach very many people. So Facebook stories could be a good way to use that. Remember, just keep chatting in any questions that you have. We're almost to number 9. So 7 is build relationships. And it's one person at a time. So I think all of us want this magic button that's just going to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to get all this content. And, believe me, too much content is not a problem. Not enough is the big problem, right? But mass emails don't work. You have to ask individually. So these teachers are amazing people. Sometimes they don't realize how amazing they are. But like Heidi said, the number one reason somebody does something is because you ask them. And if you email out to everybody after, the first week of school where, that excitement wears off and you're not getting anything, you send out an email, hey, I need more stuff for social media. People ignore it. If I say, hey, Miss Melissa, I know that you are like working on a lot of rules in your 4K class. Could you send us a cute picture? She'll be like, sure. We're doing this activity tomorrow. I'll send you a picture. And they'll do it. This was just to the tech ed teacher. Again, young guy, really busy, but I'm just like, hey, I know that you're doing great things. And guess what he does? Then he sends them to me. And also don't forget to say thank you. So we have these nice thank you cards. I have one right here. Ours are actual postcards because we mail them out to people that are contributing in our school districts. But maybe you create a hashtag, branded card that you can just say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for contributing. Your post on this reached this many people. Thank yous go a long way. And yes, you can email them thank yous, but we all like mail, right? We all like something that we can put up on our board that says thank you. Number 8, Heidi.
Oh my gosh, make it easy. Create a system, right? Create a system and be sure to remind your staff routinely in different ways. Number 1, back to this system. And once it gets going, they understand it. At first, it's mind-blowing. But after a while, they really get going. You wear them down is what I would say. Wear them down. No. And you just remind them. Remind them in a staff newsletter. Obviously, remind them at the beginning of the school year. Remind them by putting posters up around the building, right? Remind them, remind them, remind them. And please, if you can, avoid texting or Facebook messages or carrier pigeon or any other of those really effective ways of communicating. You need to keep it all in one spot. Otherwise, you forget. We all do. It's too many places. Now you're getting a text when you're on the beach in Florida on vacation, right? You don't need it. It's not a good idea, right? And then make it easy. So if you systematize some things and get a couple of features, then you know you've got some good benchmarks in terms of posts that you're reaching. Here's a key one. And we say this all the time. I hope this is not blowing your mind right now. I hope instead you're just enjoying these really great Throwback Thursday photos. But posting a Throwback Thursday photo out every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. is an outstanding way to reach more people, to engage your alumni, and to see some really funny conversations below it that continue to go on, right? I mean, hello, look at this photo. I mean, that's a normal occurrence, at least in Hayward it was.
Right.
Staff features, and yeah, I've said staff features before. We always ask for that information, but we also know that sometimes people forget to send it in, they forgot the photo, they submit part of it. So here's an easy feature. You're grabbing those photos from your database, from the photos from this year of your staff that are on the website, and you're posting one out on a cute graphic like this. This happens to be Andrea's mother, and because we're all in education, everybody we know, including the garbage man, is in education for our circle. But you're posting these out at a very consistent time. They just get changed out. It's the same phrase every time, that kind of a thing. Here are those staff features I mentioned where staff actually send them in and give you one great photo. Boy, talk about showing some love on this one. But systematizing things. Every Friday morning that gets out. Now we've got the new school year. You're going to be in front of your new staff. Maybe they have a new staff day. You're going to talk to them about the social media channels you have. You're going to talk to them about your district hashtag. You're going to talk to them about the system you're going to go and create when we're done with this webinar in a few minutes. And then you're going to remind new staff of that. And you're going to ask them to send in some information about how excited they are to teach in your district. Unbelievable engagement. And then Andrea, the last tool, tell us.
Yeah, kind of the last thing to make content easy is you have to show the impact. You have to be able to show the importance of why we're asking them to spend that extra, few moments. And hopefully it's a minute or two of their time each month when they submit a picture. But you have to measure your efforts and share it back. You can't just get the report from Facebook that says, hey, you reach this many people and look at it. You actually need to share it back. So we track stats every single week for every district that we manage or coach. And I mean, New Auburn has 500 people in the whole town. We now are almost at 1,700 fans, which I'm super excited. So that's great. We're posting more than 3 times a day, and we're reaching more than 5,000 people every week in that little town. So that's a 10x, right? Take your population, and if you can 10x that on Facebook every week, that's amazing. So, but you've got to make sure you're measuring it. We do a report card. Yours could look different than this. But this is what ours look like. And like I said, we do have a very affordable coaching program. If you're interested, talk to us. And, there's Piqua City, a district in Ohio. They're reaching over 14,000 people a week, some of their top posts. And then we give them feedback. And we also stack them up against other schools. So this is really fun to be able to say, your Facebook page likes is one thing, but ultimately you're trying to reach as many people as possible. It's those impressions of all the great things happening at your school that's really important. And so we're able to track that out, and people really enjoy seeing that. Now, the other thing is that just when you see people, you get to see on yours, like, oh my gosh, this post reached, 3,000 people, or this one reached 10,000 people. Everybody else doesn't get to see that. So every once in a while, grab your phone and show it to Mrs. Smith in the 5th grade classroom and say, look at this, that little egg drop experiment that you guys did, that video you shared. Look at this engagement. Look at how many comments it got. It's powerful to be able to share that back. And with the report cards, we're sharing this with the administrative team, with the school board that can help showcase why what you're doing is important. We also share it with all of the staff. Okay, make sure that is out there. So would you do coaching for a school-related organization, an educational foundation that supports a school district, or do you just stick specifically with districts? Kelly, we do some like educational service agencies, and I think school-related organization could work depending on what they're doing. So we should definitely talk, because our strategies can work, but we do stick mainly to education. You're going to get the biggest reach for a school district. It's just getting harder and harder to kind of stand out. Ask me for social media, Social School for EDU as a business, getting our stuff out there. Sometimes it's challenging, but that's why we handle stuff. I've got one question maybe in our, I'll answer that in just a minute. But before we get to questions, we do serve schools in a lot of ways, you guys. We are very passionate, as you can see, and we've learned a lot. Membership, coaching, and management. I just want to share a little bit, and then make sure if you do have questions, you're chatting them in over to the side. I just want to share a little bit about our membership program. It's an online Facebook group community that you get access to each other and to really support 365 days a year. But you also get access to training and skill sessions and all of that. It's really not here to overwhelm you, but it's here to give you support in doing your job, because many of you are the only person at your school that does what you do. And so they don't even understand that, like, when you post something, it doesn't reach everybody. But we have a lot of resources that we've developed over the past 5 years, and we basically give you full access to everything that we have. We've got people from all across the country that are participating. And so Amanda likes it because it was cheaper to be part of this group than sending 3 people to a conference. And that's what the membership includes, is 3 people from your school district can be a part of the membership group. We've got skill trainings, live office hours, the recorded webinars. We share great ideas all the time. We have a really easy summary of all the weekly happenings inside the group. And then we had a very special summer series. You get access to all of that. And we have more than 50 recorded trainings that are a lot like this, that either we host or other people across the country have hosted. But look at those topics, like, branding a school district, just social media 101. What about social media ethics? Instagram for schools, graphics 101 and beyond. Like, all of that stuff is there. And it really is here to arm yourself with the skills that you need to do a great job for your school district. So just really quick, it's $795 for a whole year. You get full access to everything. I'm going to send a link that'll make it very easy to sign up. Just so you know, you don't pay right away when you put in your information. We will invoice your school, so you don't have to pay with a credit card or anything like that. But you can find it here on my website, and I'll make it easy with a link. We just want to help more schools and give you new ideas, give you the support you need, give you a spot to ask questions. We really hope that you can join us because we are committed to making sure that your stories stand out. So you can find more tips. We're going to hang out here and answer a few questions. Brittany asked, do you have social media report templates? What I have is I have a blog on social media, creating a social media report card. It's a few years old now, but that might help you, Brittany. We just use a simple Google Doc or Google Sheet where we're recording metrics, and then we put that into Word. We've been kind of evolving the way that we do that, but we don't have anything specific. There are some tools out there that can help you. One of them that I'm looking into is called Supermetrics. Supermetrics, it's $800 a year just to have that, but it can be really powerful to help you grab some of those stats. So I hope that helps. What other questions do you have? I love Chris. You folks rock. Stats are awesome. Very excited to relaunch at our new teacher onboarding and our official back to school. So we love serving you. We've got a question. We have an opt-out photo video release for students, but do we need one for teachers? That's a great question, Heidi. What do you think about, we got it for students. What about teachers?
I have an opinion. Do you want to hear it? I mean, I suppose you could do that, but really if it's a public school, you are a public school teacher. That being said, I have come across that every once in a while. Paraprofessional who pulled me aside when I was embedded in the district and said, we just don't do social media in our family. Would you mind never taking a photo of me? And I was like, yes, that would be fine. You know what I mean? She was happy to, she was in the classroom. She was so great with kids and that kind of thing, but she just didn't want to be. She just stepped aside. I think it's very rare. I don't know that an opt-out is necessary. I think that those people will seek you out and just sort of let you know how they feel. Maybe it's a legal situation. One never knows, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you could look at that because you want to be sensitive to teachers as well. Hopefully you don't have to get a whole approval process for that. JB Taylor asked a question. You talked about the membership program. Is the coaching included or is that something different? So coaching is different, but coaching also includes the membership program. So we have $795 for membership. It's only $1,500 to include the coaching with it. So it's not a very big step up, but you get one-on-one coaching calls every quarter. We do all those metrics. You can call us at any time. You get an assigned Social School for EDU coach, so we're really part of your team. Kelly, if she's still on the line, she could talk a little bit. And we have some testimonials out there on our website that you can look at as far as the coaching program. But that is a different cost, but it includes the membership. So $1,500 for a full year would be included in that. So I hope that answers your questions. You can check out all of our services here, and I don't include prices on all of this, but I think on the bottom of this coaching one, yeah, there's quite a few testimonials. So that will help you out, and just reach out if you have more questions. Look at you, you got a fan.
I know, Kelly is thebomb.com. Kelly's one of our quarterly coaching clients, and I happen to be her coach, and had the pleasure of meeting her at NSPRA in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. And I will just tell you that the quarterly coaching, it really is worth all of the money. And so Kelly's in our membership group, but whenever she has a question, she sent me an email the other night to let me know that something really great was going on in her district that she's been working on. It just holds her, I think Kelly would agree, it holds her sort of accountable, where I'm like, hey, Kelly, you were going to work on this. Where are you? And then, she just feels like, her mother called or something like that, right? That kind of a thing. And thank you for the love from the School District of Reedsburg Facebook page. The Bitmoji idea came in our membership group from Superior, Nebraska, and from Sarah there. She was the one who did it, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a great way to get your staff involved, honestly. They're the ones who are really all over it this summer. Almost all of the comments are coming from other staff members. An interesting byproduct of really utilizing your Facebook page and celebrating your students and your staff is not only staff buy-in, but staff pride. Staff pride. Other staff see things and they're like, oh my gosh, we really do a great job here. Or I didn't know that was going on at the elementary school. Maybe I'll collaborate, that kind of a thing. It is really, really a magical thing to see.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Okay, I really like the dedicated email idea, but what about a form that includes an upload function for photos? is email just easier for teachers? So I'm going to just take that one quick. So we do have some schools that want to do like a Google form. I think that an email on your phone when you're out in the field, like trying to get onto a form to fill it out, to me, I think an email is easier. Now, you could certainly ask your staff what would be easier, and maybe to you, having things in a form would be more organized, and Google Forms does allow you to upload photos to it. But to us, I think the email is easier. And I just had to explain it to a gentleman at a school board meeting last night. We were doing a presentation online, and he's like, well, how hard is it for you to attach a, and then they had to explain, well, you can't have a flip phone, right? It's got to be a smartphone, but it is very easy. And Liz kind of agrees from Tip City that, it's just easier. Yeah, I just think that, and what we do, just so you know, this is a little ninja tip, is when you're in front of your staff, have them pull out their phone right then and type in the email address, and then just put test in the subject line and hit send, because then the next time that they have to send something, if yours does start out with social media at tipcity.k12.oh.us, that email's already going to come up in their email, and it's going to be super easy. So that's what I would suggest. Any other last minute questions? And Heidi, you can give some thoughts.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is that once your staff is used to doing that, and you know your staff well, and some of you know your staff really well, after a while, you will maybe just get like 4 photos and then like garden school, and that's it, right? In that email, it came directly from the phone of that, that teacher into the social media email address, and you already know what to do with it. If you really understand those things, and that shorthand makes it easier for your staff to, that kind of thing. Or maybe you follow up and say, hey, wait, it's garden school, let me just say it was this and this and this, something along those things. But yeah, you definitely want a system. Absolutely want a system.
Yes. And if you have more questions, we're going to email out the recording, like I said, and the slides. We really hope that this gave you just 1 or 2 ideas. Don't get overwhelmed, right? But 1 or 2 ideas that you can implement. And we'd love to hear how they're going, because we love your success stories. Just know that the work you're doing is so important. Sometimes, like, they think, oh, you get to do social media, that's such a fun job. Well, it's fun, but it's a job. Like, it's serious work, and it matters, and you're making a difference. So please, continue to be energized by our free content. Take a look at what we have for services, because we really do a great job to support you. But I just want to say thank you for what you do, because it is really moving the needle. It's important for your community, and you're doing great work. And I love enjoying all of the things that I'm seeing on social media. So any last words, Heidi?
No, have a great school year. Pick one thing, do it well, make a commitment to yourself. It'll make your job easier. It will help everyone else understand that it's everybody's job to tell your district story. You've got a lot of great things happening in your district. Make sure the world knows about it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have an awesome Thursday. We'll see you soon.